Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on.
Hello. Welcome to the Bring Me to Life podcast. May the 4th be with you. We are talking about Star Wars and the Prism of Lyra. My name is Selomon, joined by Shannon. Shine.
Hi guys, can you hear me this week? Hopefully you can hear me. I hope you can wake up and shine on with me.
So cold.
Gotta give them a little bit of comic relief. It's been an interesting week for many. I'm sure many needed a little giggle. If you were with us last week, I was muted for the first part, so I had to give them a little bit of sass.
Last episode, she was muted for a few seconds.
Anyway, who else is feeling this wild Scorpio moon hangover? It has been quite a week. But yes, may the 4th be with you, because we all need some force to be with us this week. There's a lot of things going on. I feel like there is a shift in the force, and so many people are on a wild roller coaster right now. So yes, may the 4th be with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this podcast, we're going to keep it pretty short and sweet, and I'll talk a little bit about Star Wars, and we'll mention a little bit about the Prism of Lyra. And then let you all put those dots together. But yeah, is that all right with you, Shannon?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so I'll get into a little bit about Star Wars for anybody who doesn't know or doesn't really get what the story is about. So Star Wars is a story about balance. It's a story about the force that binds us all together. And in the story, it starts off with a young boy named Anakin Skywalker, who is a young boy as a slave on a planet. And he has an extreme talent for being able to work with the Force. So some people find out and go to find him so that they can help and train him into a Jedi, because the Jedi Force, so the Jedi are these group of people who like to keep the balance. They are those who like to protect the weak. And, you know, so they, I guess, are seen more as a force of light in the general story. And then there's the dark side, which is like the opposing force, the Empire, like the people who are, quote unquote, the bad guys. And so they go to find Anakin and try to help him out, but he eventually turns and like deals with this like the darkness of himself. So it's really powerful story about the light and the dark and working with the shadow, and rather than letting the shadow control you, being able to work with the shadow in a positive way that helps humanity.
Yeah, I wish I knew a little bit more about Star Wars. Honestly, when I was growing up, Star Wars was a huge part of the world around me and pop culture, but it was really hard for me to kind of follow the storyline, because every time I would watch it, I would feel very intense emotions and connections to it. Like I had almost like experienced something like it before.
Yeah.
And Star Wars always kind of triggered me. And then honestly, these more recent versions of it have been a little bit more tolerable for me to watch, kind of connecting with galactic heritage a little bit more, because I read the Prism of Lyra, and honestly guys, I'm a little bit sassy right now because I have a Prism of Lyra book. I had things highlighted. I was super excited to share things, had this whole spot where it talked about Star Wars. Can't find my book anywhere. Also can't find my Oracle deck I usually use, so I'm a little bit sassy today. But that just means that you need to go read Prism of Lyra, and I do have a free PDF that I posted in the Bring Me to Life community group on Facebook. And in Prism of Lyra, it talks about the Galactic Heritage Wars. And if you are somebody who resonates with starseed energy and the connections to the galactic heritage, whether that is Orion or Pleiadian or Lyrian or Arcturian or Vegan or any of the galactic systems out there, there's a lot of people right now that are tuning in and waking up to this idea and this understanding that there is a world or a existence beyond just this planet. Because there is a lot of space out there, and there's a lot of different planets, and we're starting to learn things about time and density and quantum realms and all these different things, and everybody has a different belief system. You're welcome to believe whatever you want. But if you're here and you're interested in the galactic heritage, I highly suggest you check out the book, The Prism of Lyra. It's like I said, there's a PDF of it. Dropped it into the Bring Me to Life community because I feel like it's part of my mission to share it. I will say I don't know if I 100% agree with everything in it because it was channeled in the 80s, and I feel like we've, downloaded and acquired more knowledge through channels and other experiences. But going back to Star Wars, it was really hard for me to watch Star Wars because like I said, felt like there was this experience that had happened before. And in my teenage years, I've talked about this in other podcasts, I had dreams of living basically on a different planet and experiencing wars and being kind of like a general or an admiral or something in these wars where I would like lead groups of people to different places, and there was this light and this dark energy that were like fighting each other, and there was this kind of like magical energy that I guess would be considered the Force that certain people just knew and could feel and could use. And I always just thought I was kind of like dreaming. But apparently the Orion Wars and the Lyrian Wars really happened in a different time and space, if you care to believe so.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating thing, and we're not telling anybody you have to believe in this, but we are asking you to just try to have an open mind and just, read it and see what resonates, because some things might resonate. You might like get the tingles up the spine and be like, oh yeah, that is true in my timeline, in my reality. So, it is very fascinating stories. Star Wars and the Prism of Lyra, all very like spacey, like all this stuff is happening in our galaxy, in the Milky Way galaxy. And, the Milky Way is just a very tiny fraction, to be honest, of the universe. So, these stories are very interesting, and we highly encourage all of you to go out and go to the Bring Me Life community in the Facebook group. Check out the free PDF on the Prism of Lyra.
Yeah, my friend said you can even like highlight the parts of it you want to read and like have Google Docs like read it off to you. Yeah, they like read it like a podcast. And if I find my book sometime, I might make an audiobook of it. I want to reach out to the person that wrote it. After I read it, I recently got connected with somebody who knows one of the authors. So it's like the 7 degrees of separation now, like I might be able to connect with one. And I think it's just such an interesting channel. And for me, it was just really cool to have validation that these things had happened. Like even just kind of scrolling through it, it's like, look, there talks about Merlin and consciousness and like humanity, kind of like shuffling through ugliness and pain of different energies and different timelines. And how we always just say like we want to go home, or we don't feel like we're from here, or like people we say we're aliens, but really it's just our souls are from somewhere else. And in Prism of Lyra, it explains like the dark side and even like the rebels and the Force in different ways. But I thought it was just unique, not even unique, but like a validation, I guess, of representation of how many people feel that connection to something bigger than us that is kind of war related with the light and dark.
Yeah, it's crazy. It talks about Merlin in there. I've heard stories about there being like a Merlin energy trying to awaken both sides of the wars to the fact that duality is an illusion.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what some of it tries to say in Star Wars too, is like the light and the dark, like to each other, they're just trying to balance out what they think is the power in the universe. And it's pretty wild. But I wish I had more questions for you on Star Wars, but I guess my main question for you, since it's May the 4th be with you, is what is the Force to you? Like, how would you explain the Force?
Well, the Force, I resonate it as like the divine, like the Great Spirit in a way, where it's just this all-encompassing, omnipotent energy that flows through all of us, flows through all of life, flows through all inorganic material, all things in existence, and just, connects all things. I think that space is an illusion, and we're all connected by this invisible force. I don't know if that's like the atoms, because everything is just atoms. in this world. It's just really weird. But to me, it's just this like divine energy that helps to flow through, and like a clockwork makes all the gears move.
Interesting.
What about you?
I feel like I was fully taking in what you were saying, but also trying to grasp on what it felt to me. And for a second, what it felt like to me, my next question for you was, do you think everybody could access the Force, or do you think there's really just certain Jedis? And I think personally that we have the ability to tap into our inner Jedi, but in the same sense, like, it's kind of like how I talk about how there's NPC characters in life, and then there's the active characters. Like, the active characters are the Jedis that have tapped into like the willingness to accept that they were somewhere else. And like, I've also heard that there may be some new souls. Like, there are a rare few new souls that are somehow creating enough energy in the portal to like be fresh, or maybe they're just like fragments of so many other souls that they're having a completely fresh experience. I don't even know how to word it. It's so crazy to get into those discussions. But those of us that choose to believe in the Force acknowledge that there's something out there greater than us. And I guess that makes us Jedis, right?
Definitely. You know, I'd say that we do all have that ability to connect with this Force and be able to not use it, but to work with it, you know, collaborate with it. Guide it to a greater being, to a greater purpose of balance and equality and unity. I think that there definitely exists some NPC humans out there, maybe to help just keep this world moving while the main players go around and, you know, explore and do the things that they're meant to. Like, we all have a purpose. Even the NPCs have a purpose, and maybe they have that option too. Maybe they do have a soul and are able, if they wanted to become players.
I think we're NPCs in their game. It's just a different game. Like, everything is just like how people perceive things different and perceive timelines different. Like, people we think are NPC characters to us are just having a completely different movie in their own realm. Like, we're all each other's extras in a movie.
That's pretty cool to think about.
That's why there's a different perception of each person in everybody's brain. I mean, it's wild, but yeah.
Reality can be subjective, you know?
Yeah.
We all see different things when we look at the same thing. So that's really cool. But yeah, these are two very spacey stories. If you're into the galactic thane, if you're like interested in learning more about galactic heritage, about storytelling, about possible realities, highly suggest looking into both Star Wars and the Prism of Lyra.
Yeah, and if you're into starseeds and energy, that in that sense, there's a lot of different descriptions of lineages, and there's stuff beyond the Orion Wars and Prism of Lyra. And I mean, I'm not saying Star Wars is a straight up representation of it, but it's kind of interesting that it's based off of it. And just similar to Avatar, the Blue Avatar series is also based off of that kind of energy. Like, it talks about like Vega being very technology oriented and like coming in and destroying a lot of like the nature oriented civilizations and stuff, and they do a lot of that in Avatar. And then it also, in Prism of Lyra, it talks about there being I feel like they talk about like a Men in Black situation, but not quite the same as like what we think of as Men in Black, but also like almost more like in the Matrix, where there's like the people that control the Matrix that are coming here, and that Earth is like a playing field of just kind of testing out what it would be like to mix all the different civilizations together. And it is wild. It's wild. And then Star Wars is like that too, because it shows you like how the different civilizations do interact. And then Star Trek is also another representation of it. There's like, you know, like the Klingons have like their battle energy, and then there's like
Star Trek's actually my favorite, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but Star Trek also, like, it shows more than just the Orion Wars. It's got like so many different galactic levels to it. Star Trek is probably my favorite too. Yeah. But let's see, since we're on Star Wars, it's Star Wars Day. What is your favorite Star Wars movie or storyline?
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. I would say The Mandalorian has been my favorite so far because it's just real, it's gritty. The storytelling is really well done. I just really appreciate good storytelling and character development and character arcs, and just having like each episode build on to the story. So they did that really well, and I just feel like they did it in a way that's more like believable than some of the more recent movies and things. Before The Mandalorian, I would probably say my favorite would probably be the very first one, episode 4, A New Hope, I believe. Because, I don't know, just introduce all those characters. It was the original one. It has like a really like comedic space opera feel to it. It's like lighthearted, but it's also very like dramatic. And so I really like that one. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you know any of the movies?
I watched most of Mandalorian with you. Movie-wise, I don't know the names of them. I've seen a couple of them with the new Rey character with you, and maybe I think we saw one with Ashton. Yeah. I've always kind of known of the different characters. So, like, I remember growing up and, like, knowing who Princess Leia was, and I think I had like a cup that was shaped like Yoda that I drank juice out of. My dad was pretty into Star Wars, but I never really was able, like I said, I would watch it and I would feel like trauma.
It's too much.
My brother and my cousin, they loved it. They collected Star Wars things. They have like a Star Wars pop-up book. They had Star Wars costumes for Halloween. Like it's always been around me, but literally it was just traumatizing. Like I would see different things and I'd be like, oh, that's based off of this. And then I would kind of feel a little crazy. So, yeah, Star Wars has always been a lot for my brain.
I gotcha. It can be a lot, and there's a lot of content out there. But, if you're into space, if you're into sci-fi, if you are into what we've been talking about, highly, suggest checking them out. If you have to go somewhere first to get into Star Wars, I guess it would depend on what kind of personality you have and what you enjoy the most, because all of them are so different. There's like cartoon Star Wars shows, more like family friendly. There's ones that are darker. There's ones that are like a mix.
I think what also confused me is they weren't released in order of linear time.
Definitely
and
not.
That really confuses somebody like me. I'm like, I want to know all the things in order. So I guess, does Mandalorian start before? Isn't it like based before things?
No.
Okay.
No. It's like in between two of the series.
See, what the heck? I don't even understand.
So Star Wars started with episode 4, 5, and 6.
Dumb.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
dumb. I mean, Star Trek started doing that too, where it would release it would release a series that was supposed to take time. Like before, like right now they release something and Spock is supposed to be like a teenager, and I'm like, I'm used to old Spock. Like, what is this nonsense? And like, it's so weird for me to see like new age technology and like editing and like filming for something that was
quality.
A lot more high quality when it was supposed to take place before this other thing. I'm like, okay, guys, my brain, I guess, just does not.
That's why I haven't played the original series yet. Because you're just gonna be like, this. What is this?
It's okay. I'll go paint.
I forget what I was saying.
You were talking about the different order of them.
Okay, so can I talk about the order without you saying anything?
Not bad.
So it goes 4, 5, 6, and then episodes 1, 2, 3, and then episodes 7, 8, 9. The Mandalorian, I think, comes in between episodes 3 and episode 4. I think so, or it's between episode 6 and episode.
And then there's like the Han Solo movie, and then there's like a couple other random side ones.
Okay, so I'm thinking about it now, and so the Mandalorian show, so good, came after the Death Star blew up the second time, which I think was like episode 6. So I think it does happen like between 6 and 7. Because
Alrighty
Luke,
then.
because
that
Luke
makes
Skywalker.
so much sense. Let's just release everything in no logical order so that nobody can keep track of anything.
Yeah, well.
BP's in the chat and she says she loves my sassy energy
I
today.
know. Shannon's being real sassy, BP.
It's been a day, guys. Actually, it's been more like a week. Ever since the Scorpio full moon, this Scorpio moon is feeling it.
Yeah. BP is out listening, and she's an astrologer and has a lot of good astrology content out there. Yeah. Thank you, BP, for
Talk
what
about
you do.
sassy energy. You should go check out BP's TikTok.
She's calling you out.
I love it. I love it. It's actually made my week better. All right. So Star Wars. What else do you have to say about Star Wars?
I love it. I think Yoda is probably one of my favorite characters out of the whole series. And Baby Yoda would be the second one. And like, who doesn't know about Baby Yoda, right? So Baby Yoda kind of took over everything, and
his name's not even Yoda, guys. It's Grogu or something
right, Grogu.
of that nonsense. Sorry, BP. I didn't mean to bust you.
Grogu.
I loved your TikTok this week. It changed my whole life.
I'm gonna go look at all of her videos. I'm gonna like all of them.
There's
like,
a lot
in one
of them.
Day.
Good luck. Good luck.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Good luck.
I'm kidding.
Anyway.
So, I mean, do you have any character that you
I
think
like
of
Grogu.
the most?
Grogu's pretty cool. I always kind of thought the idea of the Chewie character was hilarious because he doesn't make any sense, but he's like best buds with Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's one of the main characters in the whole like universe.
I used to wear my hair in like funky pigtails, and people would call me Princess Leia, and I did not.
That's funny.
I'm just not sure what they even meant. So yeah, that was not my jam. But I don't know. I don't really know too much about it.
Yeah.
The Rey character was cool, but I feel like I should know more about it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, maybe one day we will come back to these topics when you find your book.
My
But
poor book. Where is my Prism of Lyra book, guys? I asked Archangel Chamuel, and he did not come through.
until that time, let us know in the Bring Me Life community or wherever you're listening if you enjoyed this episode, or please rate and subscribe to us. Also, in the Bring Me to Life community on Facebook, what do you think about Star Wars? What are some of your favorite movies or your favorite characters? We would love to hear that. You can also comment on our posts on Instagram for this episode. Love to hear from you.
Yeah. Guys, guess what? We have over 200 episodes now. So thanks for listening. Thanks for checking it out. If you want to check out more, we actually have some behind the scenes episode on Patreon. We have some workshops. We have some other cool things. Patreon's a cool place to be. It helps us keep this community going, growing, and flowing. Yep. Figured it out.
So maybe we'll end here. Just I'll let you have some final words, and then I'll say some final words about this topic.
I just wish I had my book, guys, because I highlighted things, bookmarked things. But go check out Prism of Lyra. It's pretty cool. Like I said, some of it's a little jargony. Some of it makes me go, But there are a lot of things that are kind of validating and just kind of cool to connect the dots with and see come out in different forms of pulp culture and even just humanity. And maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll think I'm crazy. But regardless, it's a good read. So go check it out.
Beautiful. Star Wars and the Prism of Lyra are stories that humanity can learn a lot from and grow from. And that's all I gotta say.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you, everybody. Thanks for staying awake.
And Shannon always.
For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of that, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.